Hi guys, welcome back to The Baseline. Thanks again for joining me. Today, the Diddy trial, all the twists, the juror chaos, and the verdict that is just disturbing everybody. So are you guys ready? You ever sit down to watch a legal drama and then realize the real courtroom is wilder than any Netflix could ever write? Because let me tell you, the Diddy trial, it gave us all of that. It gave us everything. We're talking about sex, lies, baby oil, juror misconduct, and an alternate juror who couldn't even figure out that he was just an alternate. And now the verdict has everyone asking this thing. Did Diddy just dodge a decade in prison because of a confused juror and some missing instructions? So let's try to break it all down and unpack everything. So here's what we all need to know if we're tuning in. Sean Diddy Combs, yep, that Diddy, was on trial in federal court under the Mann Act. Now, translation, it means crossing state lines for sex. Serious stuff, but this isn't your run-of-the-mill case either. There's violence, there's Cassie, there are graphic tapes, and one juror, Juror 25, who just might have blown up this whole thing. So today we're going to be trying to unpack all of that and what the jury actually saw, why 2 guilty counts might not even stick, and how a bottle of baby oil became Exhibit A in America's weirdest court case, I think since O.J. Simpson, right? But here's the part nobody's really talking about. There's an alternate juror, and he's basically saying, he basically says the real jurors weren't following instructions. And guess what? He might have been talking to them during the deliberations. So yeah, that's like putting a substitute player in the game, but after the buzzer. And now the lawyers want a do-over. So stick with me because we'll get to that twist in just a second. But let's rewind just a little bit and break down this verdict that seemed to have made no sense to so many people, right? So what did the jury actually decide? Let's run that down. The RICO, not guilty. Sex trafficking of Cassie, not guilty. Transportation of Cassie across state lines, guilty. Sex trafficking of Jane, not guilty. And Mann Act violation with Jane, guilty. So what does that even mean? It means the jury said, yeah, we don't think this was trafficking, but we're pretty sure you bought a train ticket for it. Are you confused? It seems, join the club. I'm confused too. So even the judge was like, somebody give me case law because this is just not normal. Now, it's kind of a legal minefield, right? And here's where it gets pretty spicy. So the judge asked both legal teams, give me examples where people were convicted under the Mann Act without prior convictions. Now, why does he ask this question? Because under 18 USC 3553A, that's the sentencing guideline lingo, he's got to look at disparity. He doesn't want to throw Diddy in for 10 years if similar people only got 18 months and probation. Now, here's the kicker to all this. The prosecution wants to bring in relevant conduct, which is legal terminology for let's punish him for all the creepy stuff he wasn't convicted for. And what is the defense saying? Well, they're screaming, objection, objection, Your Honor. That's double jeopardy with extra sauce on it. And they've got backup. The Supreme Court recently acquitted conduct shouldn't be considered in sentencing. So we're talking about, to see the feds try to sentence him for beating and freak offs that he wasn't found guilty of. So let's go back and we'll talk about those freak-offs, right? And the tapes and the juror who couldn't just say it out loud. So yes, the jury saw graphic video evidence, and we got a clip of one juror being interviewed about it, but brace yourself for this, because this man was clearly uncomfortable. I mean, he couldn't even say the word sex without clenching. And what he saw, well, there was, I mean, rubbing and oil and stuff, but it was tame. I get tame. I don't know what that means necessarily, but the entire community was led to believe these were horrifying beatings. But the juror said it didn't seem forced. In fact, it looked consensual. So now, between Cassie's text messages saying, "I can't wait for the freak off," and this, it was just baby oil vibe. The defense is pushing hard, right? There was no coercion here, is what the defense is saying, just awkwardness. But then comes the wildest part of all this stuff. And that becomes juror number 25 and the Rule 33. So I don't know if you guys remember juror number 25. On day one of deliberation, the jury sends a note. One of the jurors is not following instructions. They didn't say who, but the next morning, boom, verdict. Fast forward, and here comes alternate juror number 6. Now, he says the jury never followed the judge's actual instructions. Now, they might have been deliberating with him involved, but I don't know. But he's not even supposed to be deliberating. He's the alternate. And now defense attorneys are like, yeah, we'll be filing the Rule 33 motion now. Now, Rule 33 equals motion for a new trial. And they've only got 14 days to do it. Why? Because if a juror influences the outcome improperly, that juror's misconduct is going to affect things, right? And if the verdict was tainted, even just a little, game over, new trial. Now, will Diddy in the end walk or rot for all this stuff? And here's where it all kind of comes together. Even if the jury counts hold, this judge has discretion. And he's asking for a lineup of past cases to avoid sentencing disparity. So he wants to be fair. This is a good thing. And the government wants 56 to 78 months, maybe more, claiming that this isn't your average Mann Act case. And they're saying there were videos, there was violence, there was volume, but the defense, they're holding the line saying, you didn't convict him of those violent acts, so don't sentence him for rumors. Now, meanwhile, Diddy's team is working overtime, and they want a motion for a new trial, memo on sentencing precedent, pre-sentencing interviews, and a plea, let him walk. So what happens next becomes the next question. And it's hard to really tell, because here's the thing nobody really wants to say. Whether you think Diddy is guilty or not, this case has redefined how celebrity trials get twisted by influence, imaginary stuff and innuendo. But the question isn't just, did he do it? It's, can you trust the justice system to get it right when jurors can't even follow basic instructions? Now, if that doesn't shake you up, it should at least pose an interesting question in your mind, right? But we'll keep up with the story, see how it turns out. Thank you guys so much again for watching The Baseline. I really appreciate it. And we'll catch you on the next round. All right. Cheers, everybody.